Hello, friend. So glad you're here tonight. Get comfortable, pull the covers up, and let the day loosen its grip. There's nowhere else you need to be. Before we begin, a small request. Most of the people listening tonight aren't subscribed. If this channel has ever helped you drift off, take a moment to subscribe and tap the like button on tonight's video. Both are free, they take 2 seconds, and they help this channel more than you'd think. And you can always change your mind later. And if you feel like it, leave a comment telling me where in the world you're listening from and what time it is where you are. I love reading them. Tonight is a slow drift through the real story of Bible, one true thing at a time. There is nothing to do here and nothing to remember. Each one will pass like a slow cloud, some familiar, some quietly surprising, all of them real. If you fall asleep somewhere in the middle, that is exactly how this is meant to work. Settle in, let your breathing slow down, and we will begin. One more thing before we begin. I'm also a co-founder of a sleep app, built to be the most affordable one out there. No ads, ever. Just sounds and stories made to help you sleep. It may not be released yet as this video goes up, but if you're watching a little later, it might be out by now. It's called Dozly, and the link is in the description. It works on iPhone, Android, and everything in between. Downloading it is the best way to support this channel. The Bible is a collection of sacred books that holds great significance in multiple religions. It's more than just one volume, it's a library of texts that are central to the beliefs and practices of Judaism, Christianity, and even Islam. Picture it as an ancient anthology, each book bringing its own stories, teachings, and wisdom. This collection has been passed down through generations, translated into numerous languages, and studied by countless people seeking spiritual guidance. That's a legacy that continues to inspire and influence today. This library includes both historical accounts and prophetic visions, providing a rich tapestry of human experience and divine revelation. Its words have shaped laws, inspired art, and guided moral decisions across cultures. The Bible's enduring relevance lies in its ability to speak to the heart of human nature, offering solace, guidance, and a vision for a better world. It's been a source of comfort in times of crisis, offering hope and resilience. Its parables have become part of everyday language, influencing how we think about love, mercy, and justice. The Bible's teachings on community and fellowship have shaped the foundations of many societies worldwide. Did you know that the Bible is a collection of religious texts? It's central to Christianity and Judaism, and important in other Abrahamic religions like Islam too. This means that millions of people across different faiths read and study these same texts. They might be looking at different verses or interpreting them differently, but the core stories and teachings are shared. That's a lot of people drawing wisdom and guidance from the same source. Quite a unifying factor, isn't it? So, in essence, this collection of writings serves as a common ground for many, binding diverse communities together through their belief systems. Many translations exist, allowing believers from various linguistic backgrounds to engage with these texts. The Bible's influence extends beyond religious practices. It has significantly shaped literature, art, and philosophy worldwide. Its narratives provide moral frameworks that continue to resonate in contemporary society. The Bible was first compiled in its current form around 400 AD, with texts written over many centuries. Its words have guided countless lives and communities, providing solace and inspiration during times of both peace and turmoil. You know how sometimes a book becomes really important and everyone agrees on it? Well, that's what happened with the Hebrew Bible. In medieval times, scholars put together a text called the Masoretic Text. It's mostly in an old language called Biblical Hebrew, with some parts in another old language called Biblical Aramaic. It's so important that all branches of modern rabbinic Judaism consider it the authoritative text of the Hebrew Bible. That means if you were to walk into a Jewish study group today, they would likely be using this same text. So, when you think about how old and preserved this book is, it's kind of amazing that people still rely on it so much. That shows just how significant it has been over time. Its creation involved meticulous comparison and copying of manuscripts, ensuring accuracy down to the smallest details. This attention to detail reflected a deep reverence for the text and its divine origins. The Masoretic text became a cornerstone for Jewish scholarship and liturgy, guiding interpretation and practice for centuries. There's a particular Bible known as the Wicked Bible. It has an interesting error that wasn't hidden with ink. In fact, there's one copy where you can still see it clearly. This isn't just some story, but something real and tangible. It exists in the collection of the Dunham Bible Museum. You could picture it on a shelf, maybe under glass for protection. The words are printed on paper, bound together with leather or cloth. It's physical proof that even with all our care, mistakes can happen. That mistake is now part of his history. The error, "Thou shalt commit adulteries," was so blatant it was noticed during the king's coronation. The printers were fined, and copies of the Bible were recalled. Despite efforts to destroy them, a few survived as collector's items. That mistake, "Thou shalt commit adultery," is a stark contrast to the original commandment, "Thou shalt not commit adultery." It's a stark reminder of human fallibility. This error, known as the printer's error, was so significant that it sparked debate about divine intervention and the reliability of printed texts. You know how sometimes we have that one thing we enjoy a little too much? Well, Noah had his vineyard. After the flood, he planted one and got so drunk from its wine that he fell asleep naked in his tent. The Bible mentions alcoholic beverages for the first time right there. It's not just about getting tipsy, it shows how people discovered and enjoyed new things after a fresh start. That's a pretty human story to find in such an ancient text. This ancient tale hints at our earliest grappling with intoxication, highlighting both pleasure and peril. It's a reminder that even in our most primal states, we seek comfort and escape. The wine's effect on Noah underscores the dual nature of discovery. It brings joy, but also consequence. This ancient tale also illustrates how even in times of renewal and rebirth, humanity grapples with the same fundamental desires. It's a poignant reminder that despite our best intentions, we remain fallible beings seeking solace in familiar pleasures. The vineyard, a symbol of hope and renewal after the flood, became both a source of celebration and a bitter reminder of Noah's vulnerability. His drunken state exposed his humanity, a stark contrast to his revered status as a righteous man. This episode serves as an early exploration of the complex relationship between faith and fallibility. It's interesting how some verses in the Bible are interpreted to advise against drinking alcohol, like 1 Corinthians 10:21. You might picture a scroll, worn from use, its parchment yellowed with age, bearing words that have guided many hands and minds through centuries. These words, though simple, carry weight, like the heft of an old book in your lap. They're not about forbidding alcohol entirely, but rather about respecting what it symbolizes, a shared connection, a bond that runs deeper than any cup can hold. What do you make of such wisdom? It invites reflection, a quiet moment to ponder the meaning behind our actions. In ancient times, wine was considered sacred, used in religious ceremonies to symbolize unity with God. This verse serves as a reminder that when we drink, we partake in a ritual older than the hills. It's about honoring the significance of every sip, rather than just indulging in the taste. In these ancient cultures, wine was often mixed with water to signify temperance and respect. The communal cup symbolized a shared fate, an acknowledgement that life's pleasures should be savored together rather than individually. This reverence for the ritual underscores the idea that every sip is not just a personal experience, but also a collective one, binding us to our community and our faith. You know how we think of Earth as a sphere? Well, it turns out the idea is pretty old. In the Bible, there's this passage in Isaiah where it says something like, "He sits above the circle of the earth." Now, that circle isn't just some poetic metaphor, it's talking about the spherical shape of our planet. Isn't that fascinating? People back then had a pretty good grasp on what Earth looked like from space, even without the technology we have today. That's quite impressive, don't you think? This understanding reflected an advanced astronomical knowledge for its time, showing that ancient peoples made accurate observations and drew meaningful conclusions. It also suggests a deep respect for nature's order, highlighting the Earth's place in the universe long before modern telescopes were invented. This spherical concept was likely drawn from observations of Earth's shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse, demonstrating their keen eye for natural phenomena. Moreover, this idea wasn't just theoretical. It influenced practical navigation and map-making, guiding ancient mariners across vast oceans with remarkable accuracy. The Bible describes water cycling through the air and back to the earth long before scientists understood it. This cycle involves rain falling from clouds, flowing over land or sea, and evaporating back into the sky. It's an endless process, like a natural conveyor belt that keeps our planet hydrated. That understanding predates modern science by centuries. Think of it as a prehistoric awareness of nature's workings. It shows an ancient appreciation for the world's systems. The ancient Hebrews recognized this cycle, calling it Mayim in their scriptures. It symbolized life and renewal for them, as vital to human survival as water itself. They saw in this pattern a divine order, reflecting the rhythm of creation. In this cycle, water nourishes plants and sustains animals, demonstrating its role as a life-giver. Ancient Hebrews saw in this pattern a reminder of their own dependence on nature's rhythms. For them, the cycling of water mirrored the human journey through life and death, reflecting both the transience and the enduring nature of existence. This cycle was depicted in their art, with scenes of rainbows and flowing rivers. They believed this process to be a blessing from God, ensuring fertility and abundance for their lands. The cycling of water reinforced their spiritual connection to the environment, reflecting harmony between heaven and earth. You know, the Bible actually mentions what we would call dinosaurs today. In the book of Job, it talks about two creatures called Behemoth and Leviathan. Behemoth is described as a large, strong animal with bones like tubes of bronze and limbs like ropes. Leviathan, on the other hand, is portrayed as a massive sea creature with scales that are impossible to penetrate and breath that can set coals ablaze. These descriptions don't perfectly match any known species, but they do give us some fascinating insights into ancient interpretations of these giant reptiles. That is an intriguing look into how people thousands of years ago saw and understood the world around them. For instance, some scholars suggest that Behemoth might have been inspired by a sighting of an elephant or hippopotamus, while Leviathan could be linked to ancient tales of sea monsters. This imagery was likely used metaphorically in the text, symbolizing power and unpredictability in nature. Furthermore, Behemoth's immense strength was seen as a symbol of God's power, reflecting ancient beliefs about creation. Leviathan's fiery breath might have been inspired by actual encounters with whales or their fossils, showcasing the awe and mystery these creatures evoked in early civilizations. You know how we always hear about ancient cities like Jericho and Hazor? Archaeologists have actually found these places. They've dug up walls that stood for centuries, homes where people lived out their days, and even streets where markets bustled with trade. It's like they brought the Bible's geography to life, right under our feet. That's pretty amazing when you think about it. You can almost picture the bustling markets of Megiddo as if they were here today. Archaeologists have even found artifacts like pottery and tools, giving us a tangible glimpse into daily life. These discoveries help us understand ancient cultures more deeply, as if we were walking alongside them in their own time. They remind us that history is not just stories, but the lives of real people who built, traded, and loved, much like we do today. They've even found ancient writing on clay tablets, detailing everyday transactions and legal agreements. This shows that these cities had complex social structures and economies. Some artifacts reveal intricate craftsmanship, indicating a high level of skill and cultural sophistication among the inhabitants. You know, the Bible is available in over 150 different versions and 50 languages online at BibleGateway.com. That means if you wanted to compare how a verse reads in English, Spanish, French, or even Hebrew or Greek, you could. It's like having a whole library of Bibles at your fingertips. You can search through all those versions, find specific verses, and compare them side by side. That is a rich resource to explore the scriptures from many perspectives. This online tool can help reveal subtle differences in translation, making it a valuable resource for scholars and casual readers alike. It's especially useful for those who want to delve deeper into the nuances of faith. as each version offers unique insights. These digital versions allow for easy cross-referencing and note-taking, enhancing personal study. Scholars use it to track the evolution of biblical texts across centuries. The side-by-side comparison aids in discerning translation choices that can subtly shift meaning. This tool is invaluable for interfaith dialogue, enabling believers to understand each other's interpretations. It can also foster unity among different Christian denominations by highlighting common themes across various translations. The sheer accessibility of this resource democratizes biblical study, making it available to anyone with an internet connection. You know how sometimes you just want to read a familiar story in your own language? Well, the Bible app makes that possible with trusted translations in various languages, like NIV, KJV, ESV, and NLT. And it's not just for adults. There's also a Bible app for kids designed for ages 4 to 8. Plus, if you prefer listening to reading, the app offers audio versions of Scripture, making it accessible for everyone. That's really something, isn't it? It makes the ancient stories feel more personal and within reach. Whether you're a seasoned believer or just starting to explore these timeless tales, the app offers a vast selection of reading plans and devotionals tailored to your needs. The app even lets you highlight favorite verses, make notes, and share insights with friends, fostering a sense of community around the sacred texts. This digital platform truly brings the wisdom of ages into the palm of your hand, making spiritual growth accessible and engaging for all. This app even allows for offline access, so you can explore these ancient stories whenever and wherever. It also features a built-in search function that helps you quickly find specific verses or topics, making it easier to delve deeper into the teachings. Plus, the interactive reading plans guide you through the Bible in manageable portions, helping you stay committed to your spiritual journey. You know how sometimes you need a Bible version that explains things in more detail? Well, the Amplified Bible does just that. It's available on BibleGateway.com, both the classic and standard editions. This means when you're reading, it's like having a helpful guide right there with you, filling in details and giving context. That's what makes the Amplified Bible unique. You can find it alongside other versions, like the American Standard Version, on BibleGateway.com. Isn't that convenient? It really simplifies finding just the right scripture passage when you need a deeper understanding. You know how sometimes you need a Bible version that explains things in more detail? Well, the Amplified Bible does just that. It's available on BibleGateway.com, both the classic and standard editions. This means when you're reading, it's like having a helpful guide right there with you, filling in details and giving context. That's what makes the Amplified Bible unique. You can find it alongside other versions like the American Standard Version on BibleGateway.com. Isn't that convenient? It really simplifies finding just the right scripture passage when you need a deeper understanding. The Amplified notes often include alternative translations and explanatory comments, making it ideal for those seeking clarity and insight. You know how some people start their day with a quick scroll through social media? Others begin by reading the news or checking emails. Well, there's an app called YouVersion Bible app that sends you a daily verse from the Bible along with a short devotional. It's like having your own little reminder to take a moment and reflect on something meaningful right as you start your day. That's a nice way to begin, isn't it? So, if you ever find yourself wondering what to do first thing in the morning, this app could be an interesting option. Give it a try sometime. It offers a variety of translations and plans tailored to your personal needs, ensuring you find something that resonates with you. This daily ritual can help cultivate a mindful start to your day, grounding you in positivity and encouragement. This app has been transforming the way people approach their mornings, providing a moment of tranquility amidst the daily rush. By making scriptural wisdom easily accessible, it fosters a sense of spiritual connection that can bring serenity and clarity to your thoughts throughout the day. You know how we're used to hearing about the Bible in languages like English or Spanish? Well, there are versions out there that aren't as common. For example, there's a Bulgarian version from 1940 and one written in Cebuano, which is spoken in parts of the Philippines. It's like having different translations for people who speak less widely known languages. That way, more people can access and understand the Bible in their own language. That's something special, isn't it? It was often translated by missionaries who learned local dialects to spread the gospel. These versions provided comfort and connection for isolated communities. The ability to read scriptures in their mother tongue instilled a sense of belonging and cultural pride. For instance, a Quechua version was created to reach indigenous communities in the Ecuadorian Andes. This translation enabled elders to teach spiritual wisdom in their native language, preserving traditions across generations. You know how we're used to hearing about the Bible in languages like English or Spanish? Well, there are versions out there that aren't as common. For example, there's a Bulgarian version from 1940 and one written in Cebuano, which is spoken in parts of the Philippines. It's like having different translations for people who speak less widely known languages. That way, more people can access and understand the Bible in their own language. That's something special, isn't it? It was often translated by missionaries who learned local dialects to spread the gospel. These versions provided comfort and connection for isolated communities. The ability to read scriptures in their mother tongue instilled a sense of belonging and cultural pride. Did you know that some of the oldest copies of the Bible we have are called the Dead Sea Scrolls? They were found between 1947 and 1956, and they include pieces from almost every book in the Old Testament. Isn't it amazing how these tiny fragments can tell us so much about history? The international scope of biblical events really grew as time passed. That is a lot of information to have survived over such a long period. These scrolls were written in a variety of languages, including Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. This diversity reflects the multicultural nature of the region at that time. The scrolls also provide insight into different religious sects and beliefs prevalent during the Second Temple period. They reveal variations in biblical texts, offering scholars valuable data on how the Bible has evolved over centuries. Scholars have dated some of these scrolls to as early as the 3rd century BCE, providing a window into ancient religious practices. They were hidden in jars and buried in caves near the Dead Sea, likely to protect them from potential destruction. The discovery of these scrolls has revolutionized our understanding of the Bible's origins and the historical context of its writing. You know how we often hear about ancient kings and their deeds, but they seem almost mythical? Well, Nebuchadnezzar II was real. He's not just a name in the Bible, he lived and ruled. We have clay tablets with his own words on them, and archaeologists have found things he built. It's like having a letter from him, or seeing a house he had constructed. That makes it all very tangible, doesn't it? Like we can almost touch the past. That's what makes this fact so concrete. He was a real person doing real things. That changes how we see history, doesn't it? His own words on those clay tablets reveal a man with clear administrative skills, ordering everything from military campaigns to temple repairs. The Babylonian Empire under his rule became a center for learning and culture, showcasing advanced architecture like the famous Hanging Gardens. This concrete evidence makes Nebuchadnezzar II not just a historical figure, but a person we can truly understand and appreciate. Nebuchadnezzar II's inscriptions on clay tablets not only detail his military exploits, but also offer glimpses into the daily lives of ordinary people. They reveal a king who was meticulous about record keeping, ensuring smooth administration of his empire. This attention to detail underscores his commitment to governance and sets him apart as a ruler who cared deeply for both grand projects and mundane tasks. His vision for Babylon transformed it into a vibrant hub where diverse cultures thrived, fostering advancements in various fields from mathematics to astronomy. You know how people say things like, "It's just a story," or "It's just a myth"? Well, Babylon is one of those places that people often think of as a fairy tale. But it's not. It was real. They dug up the city, layer by layer, and found proof it existed at the same time the Bible talks about it. So when you read those stories in the Bible, remember, they're not just tales. They happened right here on Earth. That's what makes them special. Archaeologists have found intricate cuneiform tablets detailing everyday life and commerce. The city's advanced irrigation systems, known as qanats, showcase their engineering prowess. This thriving metropolis was a hub for trade, culture, and learning, making its existence even more remarkable. Scholars have translated cuneiform texts revealing detailed accounts of political affairs and religious practices. These records offer a unique window into ancient society, illuminating their values and beliefs. The city's strategic location facilitated the exchange of ideas and innovations across diverse civilizations, contributing to the growth of human knowledge and understanding. There's an interesting piece of evidence that supports the story of the Exodus from Egypt. Chariot wheels have been discovered in the Red Sea, submerged underwater. These wheels date back to around the time of Moses. It's a concrete find, something you can picture. The wooden spokes, the metal rims, all worn by use and now settled on the seafloor. The discovery hints at a dramatic event where an army might have been caught off guard, their chariots swept away. That is a tangible remnant from ancient times. These wheels are a striking reminder that ancient civilizations were not as isolated as we might think. They also highlight the power of nature, capable of sweeping away an army in a moment's notice. This discovery underscores the vulnerability of even the most advanced military technology when faced with natural forces. The chariot wheel's submerged state indicates a sudden and catastrophic event, suggesting the chariots were quickly overwhelmed by water. This find challenges the notion that ancient armies had absolute control over their environments. The fact that these wheels were discovered together implies they were part of an organized retreat or escape attempt, adding to the drama of the Exodus story. You know how sometimes in history there are places that seem almost mythical? Sodom and Gomorrah from the Bible are two of those. Well, it turns out they might not just be stories. There are actual sites down by the southern Dead Sea called Babed Hetra and Numira. These places have been linked to where Sodom and Gomorrah stood. Isn't that interesting? It's like a real-life connection to ancient lore. So, when you think of those cities now, picture actual structures and ruins, not just words on a page. That brings it all a bit closer, doesn't it? These sites show signs of sudden destruction, suggesting a catastrophic event like an earthquake or volcanic eruption. The discovery provides insights into ancient city planning and cultural practices. It's as if the past has opened up to reveal tangible evidence of these legendary places. These sites also reveal evidence of advanced metallurgy, with copper artifacts found among the ruins. This suggests a high degree of technological advancement for their time. The sudden destruction may have preserved these cities in a moment of peak civilization, offering a snapshot of life thousands of years ago. Such findings challenge previous assumptions about the sophistication of early civilizations and highlight the potential impact of catastrophic events on ancient societies. There's real evidence that Solomon's temple existed in Jerusalem. Archaeologists have found artifacts and inscriptions that match the Bible's description of it. Think about that. Physical things like pottery or metalwork have been dug up from the ground and they tell us a story. Some objects might even bear ancient writing that gives more details about what the temple looked like. That's not just a story in a book, it's something you could hold in your hands. That's solid proof that this place of worship was real. Some of these artifacts include intricate carvings on stone, illustrating the temple's grandeur. The discovery affirmed the existence of a highly skilled craftsmanship in ancient Jerusalem. These findings also confirm that Solomon's temple served as a significant religious and cultural center for the Israelites. These artifacts show intricate patterns and symbols, demonstrating a deep connection to spiritual beliefs. The temple's grandeur reflects the Israelites' devotion and reverence for their faith. This discovery is crucial because it bridges the gap between myth and history, proving that these ancient stories are rooted in reality. In 1631, two men named Robert Barker and Martin Lucas published a Bible in London. They were royal printers, which meant they had the job of printing Bibles for the king. The Bible they made that year was special because it had a mistake in it. It left out a very important word, not. This wasn't just any Bible though. It was supposed to say, "Thou shalt not commit adultery," but without that little word, not, it said something completely different. That's how the Wicked Bible got its name. A small error, but a significant one. They must have been quite dismayed when they realized their mistake. That is a costly error to make when you're printing Bibles for the king. The mistake was discovered only after thousands of copies had already been distributed. King Charles I, upon learning of the error, was said to be furious. Despite their best efforts, Barker and Lucas were unable to recall all the faulty Bibles, leaving many in circulation with this significant omission. The missing "not" changed the commandment's meaning entirely, turning it into a surprising and alarming permission. It became infamous among contemporaries who mocked its blunder. The error underscored the immense responsibility of royal printers, as even slight oversights could alter sacred texts' interpretations. You know, the Bible isn't just a religious text. Sometimes people use it casually to refer to any big reference book. Like the CRC Handbook of Chemistry and Physics from 1914, it's such a go-to for scientists and students that they call it the Bible. It's not just about faith, it's about information you can rely on day after day. That handbook has been there for generations, offering precise data in a world where accuracy matters. It's like having your own personal expert always at hand. That is a resource worth treasuring. It's been updated regularly since its inception, keeping pace with advancements in science and technology. Its detailed tables and formulas have guided countless experiments and research projects. It's not just a reference book, it's a cornerstone of modern scientific education. Its first edition included over 1,000 pages of critical data, setting a standard for scientific literature that endures to this day. Each entry is meticulously reviewed and verified, ensuring unparalleled reliability. The handbook's comprehensive nature has made it indispensable in laboratories worldwide, where its insights are trusted without question. You know how sometimes a game comes out and it's so good that people want to know every detail about it? Well, back in 1993, there was this game called Doom. And before the game even came out, someone wrote down all the ideas for it, like what kind of weapons players would have and what the levels would look like. That person was Tom Hall. He wrote all these ideas down in something called the Doom Bible. It's a bit like a blueprint for the game. Think about it. Before any code was written or any monsters were designed, someone sat down and dreamed up this whole world on paper. Pretty cool, huh? It just goes to show how important planning is, even in something as fun as a video game. This Bible outlined everything from secret areas hidden within levels to the intricate backstory of the game's protagonist. It served as a vital guide for developers, ensuring everyone was on the same page. This thorough planning helped Doom become an instant classic, capturing the imagination of gamers worldwide. You know how people say they're going to study the Bible? That's a real thing called Bible study. It's when someone takes time to read and think about the Bible. There are even places dedicated to this, like the College of Biblical Studies in Houston, Texas. Can you picture it? A whole building full of people, all focused on understanding the Bible better. They're not just reading it, but really digging into what it means. That's something, isn't it? They use special tools and methods, like cross-referencing verses and studying original languages. It's not just for fun or curiosity, but to deepen their faith and understand God's message better. Many even share what they've learned with others, spreading knowledge and insights throughout their communities. It's not just about reading words, but interpreting context and cultural nuances. They discuss the historical background of each verse, bringing ancient stories to life. This method helps them apply biblical teachings to modern challenges, making faith practical in daily life. These gatherings are often led by trained scholars who have dedicated years to learning these ancient texts. They might debate interpretations, challenging each other's views in a respectful manner. Some groups even host workshops or guest speakers to further enrich their understanding. You know how sometimes a highway can seem like it stretches on forever? The Romans made something like that, but instead of tarmac and white lines, think cobblestones and chariot tracks. They built roads across their empire, linking Judea and its neighbours. These weren't just paths, they were paved, wide enough for 2 carts to pass each other, straight as an arrow. You could almost walk from Jerusalem to Rome on them if you had the time and the stamina. That's a lot of stonework, a lot of planning, all laid out in the open air. Each roadside mile marker, or milliarium, boasted the Roman emperor's name. Their roads, called viae, were vital for trade and troop movements across distant lands. The Roman engineers built aqueducts and bridges over these roads, showing their commitment to making long-distance travel efficient. These viae brought far-flung regions closer together, enabling cultural exchange and economic growth across the empire. These viae were meticulously maintained, with regular inspections and repairs by teams of road wardens. This network facilitated rapid communication across the empire, allowing messages to travel at remarkable speeds for the time. The Roman roads even influenced later civilizations, serving as models for road construction well into the Middle Ages. You know how it felt for those Israelites? They had a long road ahead, one that spanned across different paths and roads, weaving through landscapes and borders. Think of this journey as a bridge, connecting two powerful lands, Egypt and Mesopotamia. It was like they were crossing a sacred bridge, the land of Canaan, to reach their promised destination. They traversed surfaces that varied from sandy deserts to rocky terrain, encountering different climates along the way. This journey wasn't just about moving from one point to another, it was about crossing various terrains and experiencing different landscapes. That is a significant adventure. The Israelites had no maps or compasses, relying solely on their faith and each other for guidance. This journey symbolized a spiritual rebirth, leaving behind slavery to embrace freedom. Their resilience in the face of adversity is what made this adventure truly extraordinary. As they trekked, they gathered manna from heaven, a daily reminder of divine support. This journey was a tangible act of trust, proving that faith can overcome any obstacle. Each step took them closer to a land flowing with milk and honey, a symbol of abundance and prosperity awaiting them. You know how important trade routes are? They're like highways of the ancient world, carrying goods and people between places. Isaiah talks about a significant one called the Way of the Sea. It connected inland regions to the coasts, allowing trade to flow smoothly. Picture caravans traveling along it, loaded with valuable cargoes. There was another big route too, known as the King's Highway, mentioned in Numbers. Trade routes like these were vital for economic growth and cultural exchange. They crisscrossed lands, facilitating the movement of goods that people needed or wanted. That's how significant they were. These routes shaped commerce and history. These routes brought luxury items like spices and silk to inland cities, enriching local markets. They also allowed for swift news dissemination, keeping distant communities informed about events. These routes even influenced languages and religions as traders and travelers introduced new ideas and beliefs. They were often guarded by armies or fortresses to protect valuable goods from thieves and bandits. Traders along these routes could cover hundreds of miles, sometimes on foot or by camel. Local rulers often maintained sections of the routes, ensuring safety for passing merchants. Without these routes, many ancient cities wouldn't have grown or thrived. The Israelites had a crucial path they often used during their time in Canaan. This was the Beth Horon Pass. It served as a strategic route that they'd take when moving through the land, and it was particularly important for them when they were conquering different parts of Canaan. What makes this pass so significant is its geographical location. It's a narrow path between two hills, making it easy to defend, but also challenging to navigate if you're trying to invade or take control of the area. This made it a perfect spot for the Israelites to secure and hold during their conquest. That is a vital point to consider in their history. Its steep slopes and winding curves also made it a formidable obstacle for any invading army. The Israelites knew this well, often using it as a natural fortress in times of conflict. This strategic advantage was crucial in their battles against neighboring kingdoms. The Beth Horon Pass was also instrumental in protecting the Israelites' key resource routes, allowing safe passage for trade and communication. Its control over access to the Central Highlands gave them a critical edge in both military strategy and economic growth. This pass became a symbol of their resilience and strategic prowess, demonstrating their ability to turn natural obstacles into formidable defences. There was a path in ancient times that connected Egypt with the Mediterranean Sea, and it went right through Gaza. This was no ordinary road, it was called the Way of Horses. It's interesting to think about what this meant for travellers back then. They would start from the Nile River Valley, where Egypt is, and make their way towards the sea. The path took them through diverse landscapes, from lush green fields to desert sands. Along the journey, they'd encounter different people, maybe even have to navigate through checkpoints or toll booths. It was a significant route for trade, with goods like papyrus and spices making their way north. That was a well-traveled path, connecting two vital regions of the ancient world. The road was crucial for military campaigns, enabling armies to swiftly move between Egypt and the Mediterranean frontier. Caravans often traveled in groups for safety, as bandits were a constant threat along the route. This ancient highway also facilitated the exchange of cultural ideas, with artifacts and architectural styles from different regions mingling along its path. The Via Maris was an important ancient trade route that connected Egypt and Syria. It ran through the Jezreel Valley and along the Sea of Galilee before heading north to Damascus. This path was crucial for transporting goods, ideas, and people between these regions. The valley and sea provided a clear pathway, making travel easier compared to more rugged terrain. Picture caravans loaded with spices, textiles, and precious metals moving along this route. It's fascinating how such a direct path could facilitate the exchange of so many vital resources over centuries. That was a significant corridor for cultural and economic development. The Via Maris played a pivotal role in shaping the region's economy, with cities like Megiddo and Hazor thriving due to their strategic locations along this route. The path also facilitated military campaigns, as conquering armies used it to swiftly move troops and supplies. The Via Maris was an important ancient trade route that connected Egypt and Syria. It ran through the Jezreel Valley and along the Sea of Galilee before heading north to Damascus. This path was crucial for transporting goods, ideas, and people between these regions. The valley and sea provided a clear pathway, making travel easier compared to more rugged terrain. Picture caravans loaded with spices, textiles, and precious metals moving along this route. It's fascinating how such a direct path could facilitate the exchange of so many vital resources over centuries. That was a significant corridor for cultural and economic development. You know how trade routes can become lifelines for civilizations? The King's Highway was one of those, running from Egypt through the Sinai Peninsula and into the Transjordan. It stretched along a high, fertile plain beyond the Dead Sea and the Jordan River. This route wasn't just a path, it connected cultures, carried goods like spices and textiles, and facilitated the exchange of ideas over centuries. That's how important trade can be in shaping history. This highway was so vital that entire civilizations flourished along its route, building cities like Petra and Jericho. It even allowed small nomadic groups to connect with larger empires. Without the King's Highway, many cultures might have remained isolated, unable to share knowledge or resources. The King's Highway also played a crucial role in the dissemination of technologies like pottery and metalwork, transforming daily life along its path. This route was so well traveled that ancient graffiti from various languages can still be found etched on its rocks, echoing the diverse cultures that passed through. Additionally, it facilitated the spread of religious ideas, contributing to the emergence of monotheistic beliefs in the region. You know, the Puttinger map has these old military roads around Tiberias, major ones. Now, that's interesting because it shows how serious they were about connecting their outposts and cities. You can just picture these wide paths carved out of stone, stretching for miles under the hot sun. It's not just a sketch, it's a real map with distances marked out. That's what makes it stand out. This was no small effort, they were serious about their connections. These roads weren't just for troops, they facilitated trade and communication too. The Romans understood that solid infrastructure boosted their empire's resilience and prosperity. They didn't cut corners. Each road was built with durable materials to endure centuries of use. These roads also served as vital lifelines in times of war, enabling swift troop movement and strategic maneuvers. Their precise layout revealed a deep understanding of geography and topography, with routes often following natural features for efficiency. The enduring impact of these thoroughfares can still be seen today, as modern roads often follow their ancient paths. You can see remnants of these roads even today, their sturdy foundations still holding up under modern traffic. This network wasn't just about control, it brought diverse cultures closer, fostering exchange and growth. It's a clear sign of Roman engineering prowess, showing how they planned for longevity and utility. The Japanese animation studio, Milky Studio, created several adult anime adaptations of Bible Black. This series was quite unusual because it took a religious text and transformed it into something very different. Instead of the typical stories of faith, these animations explored darker themes. They were not meant for children or anyone looking for traditional biblical interpretations. It's interesting how such a shift in context can create entirely new content. The original story is completely altered by the change in audience and intent. That's an unusual approach to handling religious material. These animations featured explicit content and mature themes, pushing boundaries in storytelling. They sparked debate among viewers about the appropriateness of adapting sacred text into provocative media. The series challenged traditional perceptions of religious narratives, offering a stark contrast to typical interpretations. The animations used vivid and highly stylized art to depict their mature themes, often with intricate detail. They also introduced original characters and plotlines that diverged significantly from the biblical source material. This adaptation was particularly noteworthy because it showcased how adult-oriented animation can delve into complex and controversial subjects. In the Wicked Bible from 1631, there's a mistake in Deuteronomy 5:24. The word greatness was meant to describe God's glory. Instead, it says, great asses. So, the verse reads, Behold, the Lord our God hath showed us his glory and his great asses. That's quite a blunder. It turns out the printer was distracted by a joke his son told him about an ass. It slipped into the text. When people noticed this mistake, they called it the Wicked Bible because of such errors. It's fascinating how a small slip can change the meaning of something so profoundly. The Wicked Bible was printed by Robert Barker, the King's printer. Despite the error, it was distributed widely before the mistake was discovered. This printing error led to fines for Barker, his son, who assisted with the printing process. The error was so egregious that King Charles I ordered all copies to be recalled and burned. That highlights how a seemingly minor oversight can have major consequences, even in sacred texts. There's a story about Jacob who had a name change after an unusual encounter. He met someone powerful, maybe an angel, at Peniel. They wrestled all night, and in the morning, Jacob walked away with a new identity, Israel. That's where the name of a kingdom comes from. Years later, that kingdom split into two, Israel and Judah. Both got caught up in the games of ancient superpowers. It's like being part of a chessboard, isn't it? Always at risk of being moved by someone else's hand. That's how history works sometimes. Names change, borders shift, and we're left to wonder who's really in control. The angel touched Jacob's hip, leaving him with a lifelong limp. This encounter marked Israel's beginning, forging a people tied to God's promises. Over time, the name Israel signified resilience and divine favor amidst constant struggle. Despite his injury, Jacob carried on, embodying strength in vulnerability. This encounter set a precedent for Israel's story, intertwining struggle with divine blessing. For generations, the limp became a symbol of both hardship and hope. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. For money, 20 pieces of silver, that's a rough equivalent of about $30 today, maybe more, depending on the value of silver at any given time. It doesn't sound like much, does it? 20 shekels of silver. But that's how much Joseph was worth to them, in cold, hard coin. And that price is what made him a slave, bought and sold, owned by another. That is the harsh reality of his new life. In the ancient world, people were often treated as commodities. Joseph's brothers saw him not as family, but as a resource to be exploited. They knew their father loved Joseph most, and they resented it deeply. Their jealousy drove them to strip him of his freedom, selling him into servitude for mere coins. His clothes were torn from his back, a final humiliation. He was marked with an owner's brand, a brutal symbol of his new status. A life that once held promise now began in shackles, a stark reminder of the power wielded over him. 1. Ancient Israelites drank beer and wines made from fruits other than grapes. Not just grapes, but other fruits too. They had a broader palate for their alcoholic drinks. 2. The Via Maurices, the Way of the Sea, connected Egypt to Mesopotamia, passing right through Israel. This trade route brought in more than just goods. It brought new ideas, recipes, and ingredients. So, it's not surprising that they experimented with fruits like dates, figs, or pomegranates for their wines. 3. That's a good reminder of how connected ancient cultures were. A trade route could introduce you to more than just goods. It could open your mind to new flavors and experiences. Residue from ancient pottery shows traces of honey, indicating a preference for sweetened drinks. These diverse beverages were often consumed communally, strengthening social bonds. The blending of fruits signified a creative spirit and adaptability to the local environment. For instance, archaeologists found pottery shards stained with mulberry residue, hinting at a unique flavor profile. These drinks weren't mere luxury, they were part of daily life and religious rituals too. This adaptability in beverages mirrored their ability to thrive in varied ecosystems, reflecting a deep connection with nature. You know how sometimes we doubt whether certain things in history really happened? Like, maybe they're just stories people told each other? Well, there are inscriptions found in ancient Israel and nearby regions that mention real figures from the Bible. For example, there's this Tel Dan Stele inscription up north that talks about the House of David. That's not just a story someone made up. It's evidence that King David's dynasty was real. Think about it. People carved these words into stone thousands of years ago. Their physical traces left behind, proving that these biblical figures and events actually existed. And that, my friend, is history speaking to us across the ages. This inscription is a rare window into ancient Israelite politics, showing that King David's dynasty had real influence. The mention of House of David suggests not just lineage, but political power and recognition from neighboring regions. It's a tangible link to the biblical narrative, proving these stories weren't mere myths, but reflections of genuine history and culture. This inscription is a powerful reminder that the Bible wasn't merely a collection of myths and legends, but a record of real events and people. It also underscores the influence of ancient Israelite culture beyond its borders, demonstrating how historical accounts can transcend time and geography to provide insights into past civilizations. The Tel Dan Stele serves as a crucial piece in the puzzle of Middle Eastern history, offering concrete evidence that supports the biblical narrative and helps historians reconstruct the political landscape of the era. There's a modern version of the King James Bible called the KJ21. You can find it on a website called Bible Gateway. It's one of many versions there, just waiting to be read. People have taken the old text and made it fresh for today. That's a helpful thing, isn't it? It means you can access the familiar words in a more contemporary way. So, that's something interesting about how people share and preserve texts. The KJ21 is there, ready to be explored on Bible Gateway. The KJ21 uses current vocabulary and sentence structures, making it easier for modern readers to understand. This version aims to maintain the original meaning while removing archaic language that might confuse contemporary audiences. The goal is to keep the message timeless yet accessible. The KJ21 also updates archaic names for units of measurement like shekel and cubit to modern equivalents. This helps readers grasp the magnitude of physical dimensions described in the Bible. Additionally, by replacing obscure words with familiar ones, the KJ21 makes biblical stories more relatable, enhancing their emotional impact on today's audiences. You know how some kings or leaders seem to take over early in life? Well, King David wasn't one of those. He was already a grown man, aged 30, when he was anointed by Samuel. That's not young. By then, he had likely seen plenty of the world, faced his share of challenges. It takes time to build that kind of experience, and it's clear that David brought a lot to the table when he became king. This meant David had honed his skills as a shepherd and musician, giving him unique perspectives to rule. He was able to bring together different tribes under his leadership, creating a unified kingdom that benefited from his varied experiences. This maturity meant David could handle complex political maneuvers. His age also suggested wisdom, which helped him navigate alliances and disputes with diplomacy. Having faced real-world hardships, he knew the value of empathy in leadership. David's military prowess, proven in countless battles, was not just a matter of strength but also strategy. His ability to rally troops behind him showed he understood the power of inspiration and unity. David's rule brought stability, something deeply appreciated after years of unrest among the tribes. So, there's this guy named Origen who lived a long time ago. He thought that the Old and New Testament should be interpreted in 3 different ways: flesh, soul, and spirit. What does that mean? Well, he wasn't talking about literal translations here. He believed that each story could be understood on multiple levels, like layers of meaning. It's like when you read a fable, there's the surface story, but then there's also the deeper message underneath. Origen thought the Bible had these same kinds of depths. Every day, almost 1 new translation of the Bible or New Testament is published. That's a lot of interpretations out there. So, what do you make of that? It shows how rich and multifaceted religious texts can be. Origen's approach allowed readers to explore deeper truths and apply biblical wisdom to their daily lives. This multi-layered interpretation helped early Christians navigate complex moral issues. It also fostered a sense of unity among believers, as they could find common ground in varied interpretations. Origen's teachings were so influential that they shaped the early Christian understanding of Scripture, providing a framework for spiritual growth and personal reflection. His methods encouraged believers to delve into the mysteries of faith, seeking wisdom and guidance in their journey towards God. This profound approach also inspired many future theologians who built upon Origen's foundational work, creating an enduring legacy that continues to influence religious thought today. In 2024, a fellowship known as UBS distributed over 150 million printed copies of the Scriptures. That's roughly 500,000 books every single day for an entire year. Imagine this. If you were to lay all those pages flat, end to end, they would stretch from here to the moon and back more than 4 times. Yet each one is small enough to fit in your hand. This effort showcases the remarkable endeavor to share a message. It took thousands of volunteers working across dozens of languages to accomplish this feat. Each book represents someone's journey into faith and understanding. This effort highlights the universal appeal of sacred texts, transcending borders and cultures. To make this happen, teams worked tirelessly, printing and distributing books across remote villages, bustling cities, and even conflict zones. The impact was profound. Communities that once lacked access to these texts now have a physical connection to ancient wisdom. This undertaking underscores the enduring power of the written word in nurturing spiritual growth. Each page, carefully crafted and bound, carried a message of hope that resonated across generations. In remote villages, these books became cherished possessions, often passed from parent to child as a tangible link to faith. This initiative sparked a ripple effect, inspiring local storytelling and discussions about the text's teachings. You know how sometimes you want to look up a specific Bible verse but can't quite remember where it is? Bible Gateway has something called Advanced Search that makes it easier. It's like having a librarian who knows exactly what you need, pulling the right book from the shelf for you. Type in words or phrases, choose which books of the Bible to search. It gives you all the relevant verses. That way, you don't have to wade through pages hoping to stumble upon what you're looking for. This tool can be especially useful for those studying or teaching the Bible, as it allows them to efficiently prepare lessons or sermons on particular themes. You know how sometimes you can't really understand something until you hear it in your own language? Well, for a long time, people couldn't understand the Bible unless they read it in Latin or Greek. That was like trying to learn math from a book written in Japanese when you only speak English. It was a big barrier. People needed help, and that's where missionaries came in. They wanted to spread Christian teachings, but struggled with how to explain something to someone if they couldn't even read the words. Missionaries had to translate it all by hand, verse by verse. Nowadays, there are websites like BibleStudyTools.com that make it easier by categorizing verses by topic, so people can study and apply the scripture more effectively. But for a long time, the language barrier was real and slowed down the spread of Christian faith. In some areas, people didn't have any Bible verses at all. They had to rely on missionaries' memory and stories told orally. Without written words, it was like trying to pass on a complex message through whispers alone, leaving many to struggle with understanding core beliefs. This also meant interpretations could vary greatly from one person to another, leading to potential confusion and misunderstandings in the faith. And that is where we will leave Bible for tonight. The facts will still be true tomorrow, and this video will still be here whenever you need it. If you are still awake and you would like to keep drifting through history, there will be another quiet video waiting for you on the screen when this one ends. And if these slow evenings help you rest, you might like to subscribe, or leave a soft comment, or share the video with someone who could use a gentler night. There is no hurry and nothing you have to do. For now, you can let all of it go. You do not need to hold on to any of the names, or the places, or the numbers. None of it will be waiting for you in the morning. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Let your breathing slow down and settle into its own quiet rhythm. Sleep well and good night.